is designer for the Clinic in the Can product, and has been working here for how many years, Kyle?
Been here for 5 years now.
5 years, and before that had been in the contracting business, building homes, and what other sorts of things?
Working commercial.
Commercial?
Yeah. In businesses, building offices, also working on mechanical and maintenance.
Right, okay, so you've got a little more than a little background in plumbing, electrical, basic carpentry and metalworking, welding, and all that stuff.
That's correct.
And a lot of what we're going to see here is Kyle's handiwork. This is the outside of the 20-foot unit here, and this is one of the doors on the unit. This will close the unit up, one of two doors. So, in this fashion, the entire system can be closed up at night and made bulletproof, as bulletproof as any shipping container is going to be, sitting in an empty lot anywhere.
That's correct. And one of the reasons we chose the back of the doors was to simplify the mechanical aspects of it so that there wouldn't be any on-site installation for these things, and it's for security as well. So when you close it up at night, it's all secure behind the doors. And then in shipping, it's all ready, set. So when you arrive on site, comes off the crane, leveled up, open up the doors, and you turn a switch on, and instantly you would have power from the solar batteries. But of course you can see on top there's solar panels, which can be set up in a few hours, and you're harvesting power from the sun. So the back of the doors was about the best place we could find for all these mechanical features, and it maintains the structure of the container, which can be shipped anywhere in the world, just as any other container would be.
Right. And on this door we have some equipment. On the other door we have more equipment. On this door, this particular unit is set up for water storage. We have a large water tank here, and it's open. Okay. This is the water pump and a pressure maintenance tank here, so that you can have ready water at a reasonably constant pressure inside the unit, just as it would be reasonably constant in your home. So these are all probably US-based products, right?
That's correct.
Right in here, and as you find in your home. Is it a sump pump?
That's a shallow well jet pump. It
Shallow water jet pump.
pulls water up from the ground, typically, or out of a cistern. A little pressure tank that maintains the pressure in here, a little 5-gallon pressure tank.
Right.
And this is 55 gallons of reserve water.
Right. Now let me ask you something. I didn't ask you this before, but could this be rigged to pump out of an existing water?
Yes, it could.
Source
up to 25 feet down.
Yes. 25 feet down.
That's correct.
So if you had a clean, potable water supply, no deeper than 25 feet, you could just skip the tank necessarily.
Sure.
And run this right in there and pump the water out from the source.
Correct.
Okay. All right. That's an option we didn't talk about. While we're on this side, we've got an outdoor light here. This is an LED light, and recent option, Kyle?
That's correct. We found in other areas when we had these located that there wasn't any light source anywhere, with lack of power and lights, street lights per se. So, of course at night it'd be really dark and you'd have to have your torch out or your flashlight to see around. So we decided, hey, let's put some lights on the outside, so from afar you could see that the clinic's functioning, and then when you're around the clinic itself, you can walk around, see the ground. When someone approaches the clinic, you can see the entrance really well. So the exterior light illuminates the side, it's white, illuminates the ground to the side as well. So it's kind of a security feature as well. And then we also put this beacon light up here that you can see right now in the direct sunlight, but at night you can see that thing from several kilometers away. So a long distance away you can see that the clinic's open, you can see a flashing light. You walk towards the red flashing light and get yourself to the clinic.
Right. This was actually a feature added or requested by one of your customers, right?
That's correct.
So now that would not be in place when the unit is shipped. This light would not be in place when the unit is shipped. The solar panel structure on the top would not be in place. All these items would be removed and placed inside the unit, inside the can, for shipping.
That's correct.
So from the outside, it looks just like any other shipping container and can be handled just as roughly and with all the same care or lack thereof as a regular shipping container. Then when it gets to site, Kyle here has instruction manuals for setting up this exterior equipment, and know that the equipment was set up before it was taken apart to be shipped, so they know it goes together again because it was together once. So Kyle, maybe you could talk something about the features to make sure it's as simple as possible.
Sure, and we've also been through that. Of course, in the States, we're so used to using power tools and cordless tools, but having worked in other countries in the world, I've seen the lack of availability of certain equipment and electricity. So we've assembled this several times in remote areas with only just some basic hand tools, some pliers and a little wrench, adjustable wrench. So two of us, rather slowly I would say, took all these pieces of equipment out of the container as if it had just been sat in place. And one handed a panel up, the other hand grabbed it up on top. We assembled all those parts in 2 hours with just basic hand tools, screwdriver, pliers, something that you could either send with the clinic if you wanted or is available almost anywhere in the world. So we've tried to simplify the installation so that it's not complicated if it needs to be maintained, or if anyone wants to assemble it, by just looking at some pictures and having some basic hand tools.
Now, Kyle, like any shipping container, we see we have lifting holes in the corners here, all 4 corners, and you've got forklift capability from this side and maybe from the ends as well. Is that right?
Typically, it's just the sides.
Just the sides.
And then lifting from the corners.
Okay. And so that's certainly a pretty wide way to handle it. But the other means is by a rollback truck. Is that correct?
That's correct.
This 20-foot unit can be picked up on a rollback truck, as might come to pick up a car that's been disabled and needs to be taken to the shop. And one of the things we need to do is to understand the ubiquity of those rollback trailers in the Philippines, and where they operate, that sort of thing. But that's seen as a very handy way to move these things around. And that would be picked up from this end or that end, either end,
That's right.
and drug up onto the truck and then tilted forward, bolted down, and moved.
Sometimes it depends on the final destination. If it's being tucked back into a spot, it's hard to reach. You might orient it a certain way on that
maybe
flatbed.
what the door is in first or the door is last.
That's correct.
Okay.
So yeah, it's just a typical, like you were saying, a tow truck that's a flatbed, and it has a winch on it, and it's just sliding it up on there and then driving away. So within 10 or 15 minutes here, it can be picked up and then relocated.
Now that could be done with the 20-foot unit. 40-foot unit, not really?
We do have those here in the States. I'm not sure about the availability in other countries as far as that 40-foot tilt back. But cranes have always been available for that type of deployment for flatbed trailer.
Let's walk around the side here. While we're on the outside, we'll take a look at the other door, power door. So this is the other door, just like the first, that will close, to totally close off the container in the evening when it's not being used, and for security. And Kyle, what is this here?
So this is this is called a mini split air conditioner heat pump. This is like a very small version of an air conditioner that we would have in the States. You have an outdoor unit, and then you have your indoor furnace or blower. So it's very similar with this. This is the outdoor unit. It stays out here to the circulation of the air to cool it.
We had a pause for a little noise from a local truck here, but we're back. So Kyle, you were explaining about the air conditioner?
Yeah, this is like a little mini version of air conditioner or furnace in your home. This is the outdoor unit here, which supplies the cooling and the heating indoors. In a minute we'll be on the inside, and we'll show you a little unit that blows the hot and the cool air on the inside. This is the outdoor unit, and it's just a mini version of what you'd see in your home. And this, you see here it says inverter, which is a fancy word for taking alternating current and turning it into DC current, which means it can go up and down in power and use less power if necessary, instead of coming on all at once and using a lot of power it goes up and down depending on the demand. So that's nice because we have a well-insulated box. We're trying to cool it, let's say, and when the temperature starts coming down and coming close to where we want, this will sense that and slowly come down in power or raise in power, thus using a lot less power from the batteries or the solar. So everything we've tried to design into this, try to find things that use very little power. So that's what this does, provides heat and or air conditioning on the interior of this box.
Our solar box here.
So this is a weatherproof enclosure that keeps the weather off of these controls in here. And so this is kind of the main brains and guts to the solar. So we have solar panels on top which harvest energy from the sun. Those connections come down here, and the charge controller charges the batteries, which means at any constant time we have power to use inside the clinic. It doesn't depend on the solar or the sun to have power at any one point. So the batteries always have a constant power inside. We have an inverter which changes the battery power into alternating current, like in your home where you plug your appliance into the wall. And then a little controller here that decides when the batteries get charged or not, monitors how the batteries are doing, so it extends the life of the batteries, because this is thinking about when it charges and when it doesn't, instead of it being charging all the time. And this is just a unit here that connects everything all together and has some safety breakers and a little monitoring control panel here. So it's all enclosed in this panel out here. Air circulates through, keeping the batteries cool and these controls cool, and also keeps it covered for weather. A little lockable latch here if you want a little bit of security here, but all packaged in here, of course, so it can be closed and shipped and then kept secure at night.
Yeah. Let's walk down this end here and we can talk about the connections on the outside.
So on the inside, down at this end, we've got some cabinetry in here. There's a small sink. And so there's also some interconnections of water pipes. Down here we've got a 2-inch fitting where you would hook up your gray water from the sink. That's from hand washing, maybe getting a glass of water, serving some water in there. So that's where that emits out of here.
That's a water outlet that's to
correct.
Be drained away,
that is correct.
disposed
so
of.
Draining out here to a septic system or a holding tank. And then this inlet here or outlet is for the water hookup. So if you wanted to supply water externally, you could have water coming in from another well into this point, or it's also a service outlet if you're trying to clean out the water system for maintenance, or it could be used for both in conjunction with the water system on this unit, either or. So that's what these 2 points are here. Over here is a data point, or a place where phone, internet connectivity, if you'd like, can come in here and enter into the container. So there's outlets or points where you can do some networking. So if you need a hardwired connection into the clinic, that's what this is for. And it also holds that beacon light at the same time.
So that's a mast for your lines to come into.
That's correct.
Okay. All right.
In or out, whichever's necessary.
All right. Let's take a walk around to the inside. Take a look at this inside.